My name's Cindy Cultee. My hereditary name is Queequess. My parents are Ralph and Madeline Jefferson. My grandparents are Francis Jefferson and Helena Lane. I've spent most of my life on the Lummi Reservation. I grew up on family trust property that's like a mile from here. The land that my grandfather and much of my family grew up on. This is significant to who I am and the way I experience my environment, because the same environment that nurtured me also nurtured the people that are a part of me. I believe it is because of my ancestors that I am capable, I'm inquisitive, and that I'm reliable. You see, it is because of these qualities that were passed on to me that I dared to wonder, that I dared to question what I knew, and that I had the courage to reflect on the knowledge that I was missing. I embarked on my research journey with the desire to gain deeper understanding of Lummi ways of knowing. From the beginning of my research, there was no question in my mind that it was my responsibility to honor the oral traditions and teachings of my elders. Throughout my research design and the implementation, to me, this meant learning through story and listening without recording or taking notes. Because I began with traditional oral methodologies and methods in mind, when I went to review the literature, it was more of an inquiry of methods to guide my articulation of a Lummi research methodology. Luckily, I had lots of support. I've been at it for like 5 years. And friends to lean on. But most importantly, I think is the value I carry within me of hard work that keeps me going. Oftentimes I could hear, and still do in my head, my dad saying, "You can do anything you put your mind to." I'm sharing this with you because I hope it'll help you appreciate the research methodology that I identified. Like Aisa talked about, a methodology or a paradigm really underpins your research and represents how we think and know, and it informs our methods. Mine is a research methodology rooted in Lummi ways of knowing and doing, which creates a firm foundation for my research framework. A good friend and mentor of mine, Linda Chouani Smith's articulation of Kaupapa theory informed the development of my Xwelmi research framework, which guided my research. Like Kaupapa theory, I created a structure grounded in traditional knowledge, teaching, and language, connecting my research to the Lummi people and place to ensure accountability to the community and our ancestors, which Linda says is essential for maintaining cultural integrity throughout the research process. Lummi knowledge is transmitted through oral practices, cultural and everyday activities, which further enacted our cultural protocols. It is also knowledge that is primarily accessed within relationships. As a result of my experience here in assessment for the Northwest Indian College and the Indigenous evaluation framework, it was natural for me to think of a Lummi methodology as a metaphor that could serve as a research framework or a tribal lens for maintaining a concentrated focus throughout the research process. The research framework I identified is demonstrated by traditional house post structure. Historically, traditional house posts would be carved with symbols to notify others of the home's occupants, their connection to the community, and how they relate or understand experiences. This is important to know before entering a home, as it enables visitors to display appropriate respect for the occupants as they enter the home. Much like research, right? As a Lummi community member, I understand that research within Lummi must be respectful of the teachings of our elders, the experiences of our people, and their unique relationship with the environment. We're taught that to learn, we must listen to our elders' stories. The chief reminded us of that this morning, right? That we needed to sit and visit with our elders. So the house posts of my research framework represent oralcy and relationality. And these pillars uphold our cultural protocols. Oralcy represents forms of traditional oral narration, which require a listener with the ability to listen intently in order to remember. These are skills that are important when accessing knowledge with our elders, because our elders don't learn from a book, right? Or don't share from a book. They share the teachings passed on to them that they recall from their memory, and often insist that what they say is remembered in the same way. In this modern time, though, I really had to work to develop my listening, memory, and recall skills. Like my friend Tom says, it's hard for us to listen. I found the keys to remembering the elder stories were to prepare my mind, be aware of the context, and connect their stories to shared experiences. Following each visit, I engaged in journaling to capture the stories that were shared. This was accomplished by reflecting back on the context of our visit. Reflection as a method was instrumental throughout my research journey. And why wouldn't it be, right? The development of knowledge is a process of building upon what is known by reflecting on what we're experiencing. This is the way knowledge has been created since the beginning of time. Deloria says, the ability to draw on traditional information enhances our new knowledge. If you think about developing knowledge through research as a circular process, it begins and concludes with the time to reflect. The pillar of my research framework representing relationality embodies the importance of relationships within the community, its environment, and the people who provide access to culture, teachings, and knowledge. Maintaining our relationality or our relationships requires responsibility and accountability. It is through our actions that our responsibility and accountability are recognized. Our relationships develop through interactions. We develop relationships with the environment by interacting within it. Personal and environmental relationships may develop in tandem, like when we engage in our various canoe families. From the canoe, we learn to move as one with each other and the environment. In association to research, relationality and being accountable to relationships encompasses our values and beliefs, which are often exhibited within our responsibility to one another. Throughout my research, important protocols were performed to demonstrate respect for the knowledge holders and the information they shared, which strengthened our relationships. The importance of my research is one of locating Lummi ways of knowing within the research landscape. The research framework I identify, conceptualized as traditional Lummi house posts, was designed for research conducted by, with, and for Lummi. The support posts of the framework are grounded in traditional Xwelmi knowledge and language. The posts symbolize Xwelmi oral practices and relational teachings, which uphold important Xwelmi protocols. It is a framework that ensures research carried out within Lummi is conducted in a good way by enabling the researcher to draw on traditional knowledge, identify acceptable research methods, and display appropriate respect when interacting within the community. From the center of the house posts, the researcher is able to access the knowledge, practice, and protocols for gathering data, analyzing the information, and as a guide for the process of giving the knowledge back to the people at the heart of the research. Indigenous research is concluded when the knowledge is given to the community, just as a giveaway completes important cultural work. The knowledge holders participating in my research stressed that cultural practices vary between Lummi families. Consequently, the way this framework guides research will vary. As I gift this framework to my community, it is my hope that future Lummi scholars put the framework into practice, because its implementation will continue to evolve and refine it. So, thank you.